your kid goes to school or goes and plays with a friend or whatever and comes back with some sort of illness, do you get like really upset and offended?
Yeah, especially when she gets it from my goddaughter.
I'm just no, but like legit. Hello, welcome back. Carl, Brandon, Doodads, missed y'all. Look, let's just get it out of the way right off the bat. If you're catching us or you're just coming in for the first time, back again for the first time, welcome back. Thank you. Please go check us out. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you can find us. Go to Official Doodads Podcast. Go to the YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, please. My wife had COVID. Just gonna say that, okay?
It hasn't gone away, people.
I thought we were done. We had the little get together last weekend. You know, got with some peeps over at the hotel. She comes back, you know.
Shout out Chingy.
She got a little, you know, a little groove on. She went dancing a little bit. Next thing you know, she's
a little tickle, huh? A little sneeze.
But like, and that's the thing. Like Courtney, she's not like a sickly child or whatever, but she is more prone to getting sick than I am.
It's got to be a woman thing because I don't get sick.
I don't know.
I don't get sick, not physically, mentally. Emotionally, spiritually, possible. Physically.
Well, it hit her like a bus. And you know, I was looking forward to like a little 4th of July get together, us doing an episode, you know, running an ep about you know, one of the greatest monologues given ever in the history of our country. Given by President Thomas J. Whitmore. On the early hours of July 4th, 1996.
I saw you posted it.
Yeah, man. Look, real American heroes, you know. Russell Kant.
The Budweiser, real man of genius.
We salute you, Mr. Gene Shortswear.
Man, those are good.
But yeah, man, the dude, they all got sick. I still running a streak of testing negative. So
that's good.
Here we are. I know it's been a week, but we're back. We're glad to be back. Missed y'all.
A lot has happened. A lot has happened.
Dude, yeah. So other bummer about that also is that there was a party of trolls.
There was a gathering.
And unfortunately I was unable to attend because I didn't want to sicken the wife and the
and that is most appreciated.
The bun in the oven.
I was telling Ken before we got started, it was mild in participation this year in comparison to years of the past. Granted, there was still probably 35 to 40 people there. But
I would have been stoked to dress up and be. I think that's the thing. Like you find out who your real friends are, man. If you're like, look, it means like really like.
Nobody dressed up besides family, which is okay. Nobody was asked to dress up or like requested, and like Julia had assigned us characters 8 months ago when party theme was picked out. So like it's been this massive build up, and so there's pictures out there floating around of everybody. It was cool. She enjoyed it. Nobody drowned. Nobody got hurt. It was a pool party, so those two things are always a possibility, but neither of them happened. Shout out to Michael for whipping up a hell of a pastelaya that we're still eating on to this day. Shout out to the guests that came that sent me home with a shit ton of pastelaya. Next time, eat more. I know it's a pool party. You might not have wanted a carb load, but we're all family and friends here. It was good. And actually, somebody just asked me today. They were at the party and they just were like, how'd you manage with all of it, like internally? And like Jamie and I both agreed. She thinks that because she's pregnant, she's just more this year. But I felt like we were able to just like enjoy the party, like I didn't feel the need to go around and make sure everybody had something to drink. You need any sunscreen? Are you hungry? What can I get you? Like I didn't have to play the host or anything. I just got to dick around in the pool and throw kids and play with my kid. And
You need to come to my house more often. Cause like I'm just saying, like
you want me to throw your kid?
no, no, not at all.
But
I'm just one of those people who's like, you come to my house, like you're
yeah,
like welcome.
yeah,
Cool. There's the fridge.
Yeah.
Like I'm, Mr. Belvedere. Don't work here, man. Like go. You're here because you are appreciated.
yeah.
You're somebody that we consider to be, you know.
Of course.
So at that point, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to serve you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, and I get that. I'm like that at my house, just chilling for the most part. But something about, I don't know. I don't know if it's part like knowing how. I mean, dude, the amount of crafts that I did, the amount of no grown man should spend as much time in a Hobby Lobby during the week as I did in the last 3 or 4 weeks. You want to find out who you really are, go to Hobby Lobby at 10:15 on a Tuesday.
Bro.
You'll be the only amount of testosterone, at least the only amount of testosterone that identifies as having testosterone in that building at that time.
My parents would have a Christmas party for my dad's business, and that, like, I remember that.
It's a great
It
store.
was a big thing. Like,
Great store. Love Hobby Lobby. Could go in with a $50 budget and walk out with.
you ever been there during Christmas?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Jamie gets all of her
It's overwhelming.
decor from there. It's a lot.
I do want to say also,
Yeah.
I had like weird like fantasies of, I wanted to go kind of Bridget Jones, like, oh, it's a costume party. Oh, it's the trolls. And I wanted to like really dress up like maybe like the troll from Harry Potter. Like everybody else is in the color troll, and here I come with this club.
So, two quick things. One, so like I said,
Was I wrong? I mean, you said trolls.
we all had characters assigned to us, and if you're familiar with the Trolls movies, Branch is Poppy. Justin Timberlake voices his character, and he's kind of like the like grouchy little troll, and him and Poppy are kind of have this like off-camera subtle love relationship. Anyway, Julia was obviously Poppy. I was King Peppy, who was her dad, and then my stepdad Grumpy was Branch. And we kind of all expected, at least me, maybe I didn't know, but like I expected him to like wear a t-shirt, he came out in full Branch, head to toe, face painted. I mean, you saw the pic, top to bottom. And
Good for him.
yeah, he went all out, and so that that was cool. And then talking about the Harry Potter trolls, so there's this lady that lives behind my parents, Miss Beverly. They've lived there for as long as my parents have lived there, I think, and they call her Baba. And my mom will take Julia over to visit Baba, and I mean she's like a third grandmother or whatever to her, and so Baba's gift to Julia was these two like hand knitted garden gnomes. And I think Baba might have got a gnome and a troll mixed up, but it's the thought that counts.
Yeah.
We went and ate because yesterday was her actual birthday, so we went out to eat last night, and she had opened her gnomes from Baba, and my mom was like, "Yeah, I think Baba might have got a little bit mixed up on the gnome troll situation," but I thought it was hysterical. But yeah, man, it was a great party. I'm very grateful that we are able to do it, and for all of our friends that just keep showing up for her, as busy as life is. I'm sad that a handful of people were sick, and then she ended up sick. She's got hand, foot, mouth right now.
So can somebody explain to me what that is? I've heard about it, never experienced it. According to Courtney, Aubrey's never had it, and then Ben's never.
Dude, I pray y'all never have to, because like I think Julia's case is like fairly mild, but it started with, she was like, "Oh, my throat's sore." We just thought it was allergies. Then Friday she had like a 101 fever, which is fever, but still fairly low grade for a toddler, but it's fever nonetheless. Saturday she woke up with nothing wrong with her. Went to the party, did all that. Saturday night, I get her out of the bathtub and she starts screaming that her foot hurts, her feet hurt, her feet hurt. And there was a couple little blisters on the bottom of them, and I thought it might have been from like running around on the hot concrete around the pool all day Saturday. I'm like, you'll be all right. We'll put some Aquaphor on them, whatever. Well, she just wouldn't stop. They're itching, and da-da-da-da. So look in the back of her throat. She's got little white spots in the back of her throat. The bottom of her feet have blisters on them. She's got some little red spots on her chin. And a friend of ours, their kid, she also just had hand, foot, mouth, and they play together all throughout the week. And so Jamie Google MDs it, and sure enough, it's hand, foot, mouth symptoms. Her pediatrician is open on Sunday morning, so we bring her in. She's like, oh yeah, 100%. She's got hand, foot, mouth. But it's just a viral thing that there's nothing you can do to treat it besides keep the kid comfortable. And so Sunday night, I went to Walgreens at like 10 o'clock and went and got the, this might give you some nostalgia, some calamine lotion. Shout out to the chickenpox days. And dude, it's been magic because like, first of all, it's pink. So like you just tell her it's magic pink lotion and it's going to make her stop itching. So like I'm sitting there dotting her all over her little bumps. And last night she slept fine. Jamie texted me a few minutes ago, said she went to sleep without a hitch tonight. And so, you know, it's I think from what I understand, it's a lot worse the younger the child is, the older they get. And I could be wrong about that, but also like we as parents shouldn't stand for this. You know, we as parents, we should rise up, and someone should come up with a way to treat this because it's ridiculous that there's no treatment for this.
I was wondering,
I'm appalled,
because do you, and this is like a legit, honest to God question. Your kid goes to school or goes and plays with a friend or whatever and comes back with some sort of illness. Do you get like really upset and offended?
Yeah, especially when she gets it from my goddaughter.
I'm just no, but like legit, I'm all, and I don't know why that is. I don't know why, because I know, like, man, that kid didn't mean to, and
right.
But I automatically go, what kind of parent, you know? No, and I'm like, oh God, stop
like,
it.
And I say that facetiously, jokingly, obviously, because like, if it was any other kid besides my godchild, I would probably be like, this dirty ass little kid,
right? I mean,
got my kid sick, but also at the same time, like, that poor kid's suffering with it too, and their parents.
It's like
are
a
dealing
kid,
with
like
it.
a lice outbreak or something. It's
Right.
like I realize,
yeah,
like,
you nasty ass
dude,
kid.
Yeah, well, but like that's the thing. Like I don't know where it started. Who was patient zero? Like, but
Right.
I immediately got, you know.
Patient zero is a good point because Chandler got it from someone else.
Right,
So
you know, because we've had that at the daycare with like, oh,
Right.
well, look, we had a COVID outbreak or we had a strep outbreak or whatever. You know, we're going to need your kid, you know, we're going to shut down that, whatever.
Yeah.
And I want to be like, you know what? All these kids and their sick, snotty ass nose, you know, like.
talk about that's again, like, thankfully, you know, and like, obviously, it's not me that we're trying to immunize here. It's more so my, you know, 6-month pregnant wife who we're trying to keep
Right.
healthy. And thankfully, but the doctor said that it's mainly transmitted through saliva. So like, as long as, you know, she's not sharing her drink or, you know,
Yeah.
mooching all over her, then she should be fine. And we're kind of on the back end of it. It seemingly has been fairly mild. Some of the little sores are drying out and stuff, and she's acting fine. But it's yeah, dude. I mean, like, I never would have thought. It's like,
Well, it's a funny, and it's a great little segue piece. It's a great conversation topic, you know. But a lot of people, you bring up COVID or you bring up anything, but like especially COVID, because let's all be real, that's been the hot button.
sure.
That's been the real sexy illness for
9/11.
about, yeah. And here's the reality. There's a lot of different takes on it, and that's okay. The majority of the takes I hear are typically not from medical professionals, though. So I want to move those to the side.
Yeah, disclaimer, I'm not wearing a white jacket, so
Right.
anything I say is strictly.
But it's okay. Like you have every right to read what you want to read and believe what you want to believe and do your own research by all means. I'm just saying a lot of, you know, and I don't want to use the word troll in the party, but I do know that people, you know, people will get online, especially, and they will start spouting information, whether it's misinformation or whether it's disingenuous or malicious, but they put information out there, and I immediately have to go, okay, I get it, and that's okay. You're not a medical professional, but okay. Right. But it is like COVID and other illnesses, especially when you're a parent. And that was the thing that I couldn't wrap my head around, people. And I was riding in a car with a guy. This was in the last year. And it was funny. He said this phrase, well, yeah, and I wasn't like those jackasses who got vaccinated. And I just went, well, I was one of those jackasses. I couldn't help myself. I was like, all right, we're going to put the scuba hat on and dive in real quick.
Yeah.
Because I was like, here's the deal. I was never concerned about me.
Mm-hmm.
But my pregnant wife,
right,
my 82-year-old father,
mm-hmm.
I guess I'm wrong to think of others.
Right.
Which is funny because I'm saying all that to say, because when it's our kid who gets sick from somebody else's kid, we all of a sudden we will believe anything because we're protecting ours.
Absolutely.
And that's my whole, like, what is it with, like, isn't a kid supposed to also, like, reignite the communal ideology, the familial village, this idea of, like, we're all in this together?
Supposed to, but still, I mean, it's also still so tribal and like, and still so, I mean, clannish. And I mean, and like
little C, not big K.
Thank you for clarifying. Cause I was rolling with big K and we could have gone a different direction, but, kidding, but no, you're right. I mean, it should, but I mean, it's hard. There was a recent, dispute amongst my family that I'm not going to go into detail and talk about, but that like put me in a position to, like, in essence, have to choose Julia and Jamie over the rest of my tribe and my family or my community, you know. But
happened with me and my sister.
Yeah, and it's like one of those things that it's weird because having a kid, I've realized more than ever that it absolutely takes a village. But also in having a kid, I've become at times very territorial and very much the chief of my 3 soon-to-be 4-man tribe, woman tribe, people tribe.
Well, you know, and that's I think, like me and my sister, because a lot of it's centered around COVID, right? Mm-hmm. And my sister and her family have found themselves very happy and very comfortable in a more segregated, off the grid kind of, life. Yeah. And that's like they quarantine, you know what I'm saying? Like mandatory shutdown, that hit every like nervous system for them. It was perfect. They were like, this is
the way life
less
is supposed
people,
to be.
Whatever. Now, I am, on the other hand, like, I'm very much capable today of being alone. Mm-hmm. Do I want to be alone? No, because I have friends out there and I have people, I have family. But with COVID and all that, there became this big, when Courtney and the kids tested positive in 21 or 22, I'm trying to remember which. It was like December, because it was Christmas. So it was either 21 going to 22 or it was 22 going to 23. But anyways, and there was a big fallout. Because it was, well, y'all tested positive and you were at the, outside of BR General, they have the lights that go up there across from the mall. We went and did it. We went and walked around and we're like, well, because everything we had read at that point, because CDC guidelines change all the time, whatever. We're told, okay, you should keep 6 feet away. So we were together. We were no longer in a shutdown.
Right.
We were no longer in a don't go outside.
These were just like be courteous and cautious of
right. And we didn't, and when if we went anywhere, we wore a mask, but we didn't really go anywhere for those. That was like an outing on one night. And we posted pictures. And anyways, it became this, this thread between me and my sister and this texting back and forth. And I realized there's a lot of other stuff there. There's history, whatever. But it really did what I heard over and over and over, and it was said multiple times, was because I would make reference. I'm like, well, but I see you do this, and it, you know, like I
Yeah.
may not agree,
Yeah.
but well, they're my kids. So I kind of started saying,
It's mine.
my kids,
Right.
my family.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. You have every right to do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Don't, you know, like, and I'm not faulting you.
Right.
It is okay if you're red and I'm blue. It's
Right.
okay if you're right and I'm left. It's okay if you're up and I'm down. We can still be brother and sister. We can still be family. But it is unfortunate that we live. She literally, you know where I live from this studio.
Mm-hmm.
She lives maybe 2 minutes from this studio.
Mm.
That's how close we live to each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know how often we see each other now, let alone talk?
Hmm.
We see each other maybe twice or 3 times a year now.
Hmm.
And like, you know, we're going to go to the beach here in a couple weeks and, you know, with my dad and her kids and all that. And Courtney was like, well, thank God we got, you know, the COVID thing out of the way. Because it is. It's almost amusing. It's like we can't. Whatever decision I make, you apparently have some big. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
It created this really weird rift that has. I don't know if it's ever been. We're
Maybe-
polite and we're civil and we smile with each other, but
Maybe the beach is an opportunity to air some of that out in a peaceful environment.
we tried
I'm
last
not going to
time.
tell the shark story again
But,
if we start talking about the beach.
What shark? No, we tried last time. Last time we went to the beach, we tried, and it did not go well. I think it ended in pretty
It's hard.
uncomfortable.
It's hard because like of me and my 3 siblings, like I'm the only one with a kid at this point, and so like I almost feel this sense of like indignation of like, don't not a single one of you tell me anything about what to do with my kid because you don't have any. So like I can't even respect. It's not that I'm saying that I'm right for this. I'm just sharing with you the way my thoughts work. But like in my mind, I'm like, I can't really even respect your opinion because like you don't have the experience to even
Right.
justify it, you know? So like what I do with my kid is up to me and my wife and only us. And like it's even, and I've talked about it on here before, like it's even been difficult for me to like take, you know, consider what my mom says, and she raised multiple children, you know, because I still get this like righteous feeling of like, she's mine, they're mine, we're going to do what we feel is right, and we're going to reserve the right to be wrong, and if we are wrong, we will wholeheartedly admit that what we did. And we were just talking about that before, like with sleeping, like how we put Julia to sleep versus like the plan for putting, you know, with Julia, we freaking rocked her to sleep until she was almost 3 years old, and different stuff like that. And like my mom would be the first one to tell you that there's plenty of stuff that Jamie and I have done that she hasn't agreed with along the way. But like in my from where I'm sitting, like that's for me to get to decide, and for you to get to sit back and say I told you so if that's what you want to do. But it's for me to get to decide and learn through trial and error of what works best for me, my wife, my kid, what we feel we're comfortable with. And it's like, if you're not comfortable, I mean, and I agree 100%, like if you're not comfortable, like if the quarantine works in your favor for your lifestyle, by all means rock on, but like respect what I'm doing with mine over here. And like so I'm going to share this recent experience that I think is borderline whatever, but I'm going to talk about it because I feel like it's applicable. But 2 weekends ago, we went to New Orleans, to stay with Nanny for the weekend, and we brought Julia to Build-A-Bear, to make herself a bear, to make Brady. She made Brady a chameleon, Charlie the chameleon. Shout out to Charlie. And the person that is assisting us in the Make a Build-A-Bear thing, you know, is of a typical or a different type of physical appearance, right? Blue-green hair, certain things like that. And so this person is asking Julia some different questions and stuff. And Jamie says, Julia said, yeah, or something. And Jamie was like, yes, ma'am. And I happened to glance, and at Build-A-Bear, the name and the pronouns is on the name tag. This person identified as a they, them, there. So I tapped Jamie. I said, hey, can you come look at this outfit over here real quick? You know, because like, while my personal beliefs and our personal beliefs may not align with that, I also believe that like in a situation like that, I'm going to be respectful and not, you know, there's probably some people that would be like, you're going to say fucking ma'am, you know, I'm not that guy. And so I just didn't want Jamie to keep reiterating the ma'am thing and make this person feel uncomfortable, or worse yet, respond in a way that confuses my kid, because, you know, and that's the reason I'm telling this whole story, is what I'm getting at is like, you know, am I supposed to not teach my child to say yes, ma'am, and yes, sir, out of fear of upsetting what you identify as? Because as far as I'm concerned, just as much as that's your choice to choose to identify as that, or maybe it wasn't your choice, or whatever it is, it's also my decision to want to instill manners and respect into my kid by responding, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, no, ma'am, no, sir. And so at that point, then, like, if that person, the hope is that person can at least have some sense of like maturity enough to realize that this is not an argument I should have with these parents or this 4-year-old, but also like, in my mind, I'm thinking, what if that had come up in that moment? How would I have handled that? And it was one of those things where what I'm getting at is this whole, like, I feel like we've gotten to a place in society, as people in general, as parents, especially amongst school and stuff, of this comparison of what I do with mine versus what you do with yours. And if it's different, rather than maybe collaborating or explaining, not justifying, but just sharing in this community spirit like we talked about, it becomes this judgment and this imposition of what I'm doing with mine is right, and this is why what you're doing with yours is wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, this is the truth. Like, this is factual, right? This is, I mean, you can look at CPS polls, you can look at historical data that is shown just from the moment of the Civil Rights Act being signed, women's suffrage, getting the right to vote. Like, we may not want to hear it, like, just in reality, but it's true. If you are a white hetero male, there's very little opposition for you.
Sure.
Ever.
Yeah.
Like, ever.
Yeah.
Like, ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're a white hetero female, you're a notch below.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's take into account you're a black male. You're an even lower notch.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take into account you're a black female. It's an even lower notch. Let's take into account you're a member of the LGBTQ community, okay? That's an even lower notch. All right, now you're a person of color, you know, a black person who is of the LGBT.
Right,
you see,
right,
like,
right,
and it's,
right.
and all I'm saying is that when we have conversations, those of us who, the idea that, you know, well, and I'm not saying this is what you're saying, but there is an air typically that is, well, why do I have to understand? Right. And it's like, well, you don't have to, but if you can't be honest with yourself and say, here's the starting line of life, and if this person is here and you're here, you're automatically given a leg up. Now, they can hide who they are. They can try. Now, and as my boy TK would always say, the biggest problem with me, bruh, he was like, when I walk in the room, you know who I am, because he's black. He's like, I can never change that. Like, it is who I am. And so when I walk in the room with you, I'm already having to try to take a larger step because I'm trying to keep up. And that's a reality. And so when I'm dealing with my kids and when I'm dealing with my family and I'm trying to figure out how to navigate these things and all that, is I'm always realizing, like, that is somebody's baby.
Yeah.
The way I look at Ben, the way I look at Aubrey, somebody looked at that person the same way. Right. So if my child ever looked at me and said, I love you, Dad. If Ben looked at me and said, I love you, Dad, but I can't help it, from as early as I can remember, I have just felt that I am a girl. What do I do?
Yeah.
What do I do? Do I take everything that I've ever known? Because I got no problem with you wanting to be a girl. I just don't know what that's like.
Yeah.
Because I'm very confident in who I am as a man.
Right.
Right. I have a friend right now who currently just went through top surgery, and they are transitioning into a male life. And like, I'm cheering them on, because if that's what's going to keep you from putting a bullet in your head,
Yeah.
like, that's, you know what I'm saying? It's a weird because I think that we can take faith and our beliefs and all that, and that can start to dictate what is in front of us. Meaning, like, if the God I do business with finds sin or find it to be not pure for someone to identify other than as they were assigned at birth, or that they're gay or whatever, that is okay, because that's how you worship, that's how you believe, that's whatever. But I've got to remember, if my kid is going to stand next to this person, then I got to make a level, even playing field. And what's standing in front of me is a future that has nothing to do with what I believe.
Right.
Like what my faith and because I'm a worship for what is probably a heartbeat in heaven. I'm going to be here for such a breath.
Yeah.
You know, and what's going to be left behind me. And I hope it is love and compassion, and like you said, community, and trying to figure out how to have that conversation. And it isn't, because I can find myself very much so being like, yes, ma'am. And like, oh, damn it. You know, I got it wrong.
Yeah.
What I hope, and I'll shut up. What I hope is on the other end, though, is that I'm also not chastised or crucified for my ignorance.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to walk up to you and go, cis white male right here. Okay. And I'm ignorant as shit. I'm willing to learn.
Right.
But don't beat me up for my ignorance.
Yeah. And
I can't help it.
That's, you know, because I do, I've had instances. I mean, I talk the way that I talk, and I've had instances driving through coffee and thanks, man. And then I go, might not be a man, might not identify, you know, and realize it after the fact. And like, I think because this is what I'm not going to ask anything of my kids that I'm not trying to practice myself. And so I think that what I want for them is the same that you want for yours. I want them to believe in something. But I also want them to be understanding of other beliefs. You know, like I want them to be strong and confident in whatever if they choose to follow the spiritual Christian path that we're raising them in at this point. Mm-hmm. Great. If they don't, great. But like at the end of the day, you know, there's a guy that I know, and there's some members of his church that are gay, and he's asked the pastor, like, how do you go about, like, how do you deal with that? Like, what is, as the pastor of this church, like, what is your stance? What is that? And as the pastor of the church, his stance is a Christian, you know, biblical type stance of like, I don't agree with it. However, I'm going to love them and allow them to be in my church. I personally don't believe in it and agree with it, but I'm still going to love them and allow them to be here to worship whatever they choose to worship and believe in. Like, that's not, and I think that is, whether it's, and I'm not saying that exact view, but like that ability to be confident in what my kids, what they believe in, but also show patience, tolerance, compassion, consideration, show willingness or desire to understand, you know. I mean, that instance at Build-A-Bear made me kind of step back and go like, okay, these are not things that our parents had to navigate.
No,
at all.
They were navigating, you know, civil rights. They were navigating. I mean, and there were Harvey Milk. There were Andy Warhol. There were artists and musicians and things that were starting to make their way as far as the LGBTQ community. But no, they weren't, because they didn't have on time, real time information that was coming at them all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, we have digital, social media. I mean, and our kids are going to have it.
Yeah.
My thing, and it's only, I love words. It's, you said something, and again, by no means I'm not, it could be lack of vernacular or whatever, but it's like, the pastor saying, but I want to allow them. And I think that's where, like, sometimes the feeling of distrust or the feeling of like lack of confidence is that, like, oh, you're going to allow me. Like, it's a favor.
Yeah.
And I guess
think it just meant like,
No,
I'm
yeah,
not going
no,
to make a scene
no, I
of
understand.
them being,
Right.
you know.
But I think that's where I think the distrust and the discomfort and why there is this divisiveness right now
Yeah.
that is going on over the last decade or so in the country is because there's this, we want ours, we want, our time, and we want to be seen and heard because we deserve it, because
Right.
it's our right. And there's another side that's saying, but I don't believe that and I don't feel comfortable with it. And it's like, well, it's okay that you believe differently.
Yeah.
How comfortable you are has nothing to do with whether or not they have the right to be there or not.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, why I think our country, even, and I'm not trying to go MAGA or no or whatever, but it is why even my most progressive friends, because if you haven't figured out, I'm a bit of a libtard, call me whatever you want.
As long as you can admit that Joe Biden's not a 6 handicap. Because we all know that that's
Bro,
a big
look,
lie.
we're
I saw
so
his golf
fucked.
swing.
We're so bad.
Anyway, carry on.
Anyways, yeah, that's a whole nother. And that's the other thing is people look at you and they go, "Oh yeah, that's right. You're a Biden supporter." I'm like, no, no.
Yeah.
But no, and it's the reason why I to this day believe that our country is the greatest country in the world. I do. I 100%. What it stands for.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've fallen short in a lot of areas. We've taken some steps back. I think we've really screwed the pooch in certain areas. But a bunch of, yes, they were slave owners. Yes, they were all white. Yes, they were all men. Yes, all the, but they were, to quote the movie,
Space Jam.
No. It's got Brendan Fraser.
The Mummy.
What better time does he need to come back? No, but it's called With Honors, and it's got Joe Pesci in it, Patrick Dempsey. It's a early 90s movie, but it's this guy at Harvard, but there's this scene, and he says they were bums. They were bums. Like, they were not too full of themselves to realize we're going to do this to the best of our ability, and it's probably going to have to be ratified and amended as time goes on. But their best stuff, what they came up with, was that all men, even when they threw in 3/5, we've even changed that no man is 3/5 of a man, that all men are created equal, and that they have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I don't ever want to get in the way of that.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes belief and stuff gets in the way of that. Like, they have the right to that. And I don't know.
Yeah, I it's interesting because, and I also think too that, like, as time has gone on and my life experience has changed, and I mean, like, I probably thank God that, I don't know, some of it, actually that's not true. I was going to say thank God some of my thoughts weren't publicized in my early teenage days, but Facebook will remind me every now and then something I posted in 2008 or something. But it's one of those things that, like, I've read somewhere before that intolerance is just a lack of understanding. And I feel like the majority of people generally nowadays aren't actually listening to understand. They're just listening to respond. They're just listening to talk more. They're just, they're not, and that, again, just along the lines of things that I want to instill in my kids. And I'm guilty of it too. Like, I'm really good at hearing the first 5 words that someone says and already responding and not realizing that the second 5 words are what are more important. And when I respond to the first 5, what I say is going to be completely stupid. And so, as time has gone on and I've learned to listen more, but, like, I do want I want my kids to be willing to understand other people. They don't have to agree. They don't have to agree at all. I don't want them to be. I want them to believe. What is it? Believe in something or fall for anything. Is that what they say? Like I want them to have something that they can be confident in spiritually, even if it's I don't believe in anything. Don't believe in anything. Like be confident in that, and also though be willing to listen to the priest and hear what he has to say. And like I don't want my kids to be racist, but if you go through a racist spell, like feel that way, but also be willing to change your mind, be willing to become more tolerant, like because I feel like we've seen it happen as time has gone on, that like the generation of men that our parents are from, their experience with people of color at that point in time was one way, and maybe some of them are absolutely still stuck in their ways today. But I also think you see a lot. Tiger Woods came on the scene, all those men love golf, and then here comes Tiger Woods showing up, a colored guy on a golf course. And
Yeah,
so,
getting into the clubhouse,
infiltrating, not in a negative way. It's just the word that came to mind. But you get what I'm like. I think it's ridiculous to be so stubborn in what I believe. I think there's a difference between being confident and being stubborn about what I believe. And I think being confident in what I believe is that I'm not afraid to express it, but being stubborn is that I'm not willing to consider anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think that all of that is valid, and then you enter a child into it,
Right.
and it's like everything is up for debate at that point.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. It's like you don't understand if you don't have I hate to go back to the gun thing, but it's like you don't understand. Like you can say whatever you want to me.
Right.
If you don't have kids, I'm like done talking.
Right.
I'm done talking.
Right.
I'm seriously done talking, because you can say, well, you don't own a gun, but you don't have kids.
Right.
So like once a kid enters it, like whatever the debate is, whatever the conversation is, moral, philosophical, faith-based, whatever, it's like it all changes once you have a kid.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's and God bless Dave. I think he's with David Jr. now. Dave passed away a year or so ago. But his son suffered tremendously with mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
Tremendously. Took his own life because of it. It shattered Dave. It shattered him. His baby boy.
Mm-hmm.
I sit there and think to myself, like, that's got nothing to do with any sort of spiritual text.
Right.
That's like a legit chemical imbalance that you can't fight and you don't know anything about until maybe 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that's a fear,
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know. When a kid enters anything, and so, yeah, I mean, Build-A-Bear, I've just tried to, especially, like I say, be more conscious myself.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
in any situation. Because it is, I think, it's what he's going to remember.
Right.
No,
absolutely. I mean, and that's, again, like, even in, not even, but especially when it comes to this, like the example is ours to set, I mean, and sure, maybe at some point, getting to Aubrey's age or there's outside influences that are not in our control, but the hope is that we've influenced them enough at Ben and Julia's age to where those outside influences, the negative ones or whatever, they don't necessarily affect them.
Yeah, I just and that's always been the thing with Aubrey, right? Is like, which I'll want with Ben, is just stand on principle. Like whatever it is, just stand on
business.
it. Yeah, I mean, but stand behind it 100%, because that's the other things I do. I want my kids also to champion like bullying, like that's the other thing. Like I always told Aubrey, I'm like, you don't want to be a mean girl.
Right.
You don't want to be that girl.
Right.
Let me tell you about that girl. I went to high school with all of them. Okay. I went to high school with all of them.
Yeah.
I saw them at prom. You know what? They're still there. And I'm not, look, for all y'all who went to the picnic, no offense, I hope it was really great.
A reunion picnic?
There was a huge, yes, because we're former Lehigh. We're not Lehigh anymore. We're Liberty.
Right.
But anyways, there's a bunch of people. And I'm like, I get it. Like, that's what's up. Go hang out. Do that.
Yeah. Not for me.
No, so here's the reality, dude. Here's the difference is that some people, that is, like when they think back, the glory days, 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's how long it's been since I graduated high school. 25 years.
Yep.
You want me to go sit on a blanket in a grassy knoll at some park and talk about 25 years ago?
Yeah.
I'm sure they passed around pictures of kids and
Sure.
laughed and I'm sure, but it's like, don't be a mean girl. Don't be, because I went to school with those girls and that was it. That was the peak.
Yep.
I've kept up. It's a dandy.
You can't hide.
You can't. And here's the deal. I want everybody to be happy. I want you to have the life you always wanted, but like,
yeah,
that's, I saw you at your best.
Yeah.
And that sounds like I'm talking down, but I'm sorry. Like, I don't want Aubrey to be that.
No.
I want better for you.
No, absolutely. That's, I mean, same. I was asked, I wasn't directly asked, but it was through the grapevine requested that I not show up to my high school reunion. 10 years. God, it's been 14 years since I graduated high school. Makes me feel old. Not as old. 25, but I think it was the 5-year reunion because it was a period of my life where I wasn't doing all that hot. But the mom of a girl that I dated that I didn't treat all that well was like, I hope Brandon doesn't show up, and I was like, you think I want to go to that fucking shit party? I'm good. But you're right, and it's like, and that I think is why for me it's so important to like maintain, because I think that, like, I've said this before, maybe not on here, but I know I've said it to Jamie, like, people say I'll die on that hill, as a figure of speech. Like, I don't know if there's a whole lot of hills I'd die on, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like, there's stuff that I truly believe in, but I also am in a place right now where I'm constantly reserving the right to be wrong. Like, I'm constantly in a place of like willing to listen to an extent, like within reason. Like, I'm not gonna get like I'm not gonna get screamed at. I'm not gonna get talked down to. Like, that's something I'll stand on. Like, if you want my respect, then it's reciprocated. It's a mutual thing, But like, if you and I disagree on something and we can talk about it, I'm all ears. And if we disagree and you're going to try to, and again, back to the Build-A-Bear thing, I have no beef with that situation. It was something that made me think. And the reason I have no beef with the situation, because for all I know, that person heard the yes ma'am correction and it rolled right off their back. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But if they did, kudos to them for handling it in a way that was maybe uncomfortable, maybe not. I don't know. It may be something that happens all the time. We live in South Louisiana. I don't know. But the way that it was handled was as if it had never happened. And so, yeah, like, I'm willing to listen as long as it's a conversation that is either going to help one or both of us grow or help one or both of us understand each other a little bit better, because now we're at a point where, whether it was the COVID stuff, whether it's flat earth, whether it's the lizard people shedding their skin in the water, whether it's Britney Spears, it's just the reason the medical opinion didn't win out in COVID is because it wasn't necessarily the loudest. And it's just one of those things that it sucks that that's what the world has come to. But I also feel like there's some sense of like hope that things like this are maybe the scales are tipping,
Well, I love, the greatest thing about the shutdown, it was like Walmart at 3 a.m. The people watching on social media was some of the best.
Walmart on Florida.
Bro. Just, it was legit. It was the best. I don't know. My old home Walmart on College Drive be hitting.
Oh yeah.
But like, dude, hey, bro,
it's a busted Walmart if there ever was such a thing.
But it really, I saw people saying things and thinking things and doing things. And let's get out of the like, which side of the aisle. I'm just talking about like all of a sudden, this is what Orwell was talking about in 1984. And I'm like, are you serious?
I was one of those people for a while. I was working at Marucci, and I was getting ready to make zombie, like Negan from The Walking Dead. I was ready to make didn't he have a name for that? The bat with the barbed wire. Negan.
Oh, Lucille?
Negan. Lucille.
Yeah.
I was getting ready
with the
to make some Lucille's.
Yeah, but it just, people still do it today. Oh, yeah, that's how you what is it? You keep them entertained, and they show pictures of the Coliseum, and they show like a football field, and it's like you lull the sheep to sleep. And I'm like, this sheep has a really good time on Saturday nights.
Yeah.
Okay, this sheep loves to watch football, loves to hang out with my wife, loves to hang out with my kids, loves to have friends over, and we barbecue. I don't know that the world is coming to an end. One thing I will say,
they want you to think,
and we can move on if you want, but
this is I love this stuff.
I could go for hours, but recently there was if you're not familiar with Louisiana law, a new one just got passed.
Yes.
About schools and the 10 Commandments.
Yes.
And
I thought you were going to talk about the constitutional carry that was put into effect on July 4. America. Carry on with the 10 Commandments, though.
Yeah, right. Because that changes anything.
Right.
No, Courtney lost it. She was like, I can't believe they're putting it in classrooms. 'Cause she was like, I said, well, whatever. And she's just like, but separation of church and state, it's this big, my kid shouldn't be forced to do. And I said, well, as long as they're not trying to indoctrinate anyone.
Sure.
As long as they're not trying to, I was like, would it be okay if they put like maybe some lithographs or maybe something of the Torah, or maybe we could have a couple of pages of Muhammad's best stuff. Maybe a couple of maybe some Deepak Chopra or some Ram Dass, some Buddha.
Sage.
Like what is okay and what isn't? She's like, well, none of it. You see, I said, Courtney, you realize, and this is just me, and this is how I see politics in the world, and this is why what I do with my kid personally is more important.
Absolutely.
Because I do know that they have better access than I did to things. And so they're going to learn. So it's like, what do I create in the home? Mm-hmm. And it's by helping them understand that, all right, kids, you see what they did here, right? They said, oh, look at the shiny 10 Commandments in classrooms over here. Pay no attention to the $1 trillion industry that we're making over.
Right.
This is what lulls us to sleep. Now here we are infighting again. And one of my friends, Brandy, who I used to work with, she said this, and it was one of the most profound things I had ever heard. It was when I was working for my dad. Brandy, I hope you're doing well. I know you got your baby girl is so cool to see. It was like right after the Mandalay Bay shooting, the guy, and it was like something had happened, and she goes, well, yeah, I mean, okay. Bye-bye women's rights. Welcome back gun control. Because it's this never-ending cycle of just to keep us.
Yeah.
So what kind of human am I going to create? That's what I'm not even going to get that. The world's coming to an end. I'm like, it's been coming to an end like every generation.
Yeah, that's right. And my whole thing is because I can get lost in the rabbit holes for sure. And
aliens.
I can. And some of it's pretty convincing. One hill I will die on is the Earth is not flat.
No, it's a donut.
I will.
Donut Earth is real.
Simulation, but yeah, I mean, because it's funny when politics or anything like that gets brought up. I'm like my stance is borderline outlandish, but it's my stance. It's until somebody who claims to be a government official knocks on my ugly ass red front door and says, hey, the guns you have in your house, we're going to need those. The cash you have, we're going to need that. Until that happens, I'm going to focus on putting a good product out there. Julia, Brady, a product that can differentiate between what's real and what's not. Because, I mean, dude, it
and I think that's my sister, people like that it is, and I'm much more liberal, but it is, there's this real deep thought sometimes of like, well, we're just going to stay over here and we're just going to, and it's this kind of like bomb shelter mentality, this kind of, and like coming out to see, is there still fallout? And it's like, no, everything's been fine good. This whole time.
Yeah. No, it's, I don't know. I don't know. Look, I'm a bit of a cluster bomb because one day I'll listen to a former CIA operative talk about needing to carry $200 in cash in $5 bills on you at all times so that if the economy collapses in the banks and higher denominations aren't going to have any value. Story. I talked about this already?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
It's all good.
Did
Keep
I?
Going. Yeah.
The same episode?
Well, no.
Dude, maybe I need to start taking Alpha Brain again. Holy shit, that's terrible. Anyway.
Alpha Brain.
Yeah, the nootropic.
See, now there's a weird thing.
Nootropics?
No. So, any
the
tropic.
Fact that I can't remember
any tropics.
Anything.
That's, as somebody who believes in like modern medicine and believes in all the, like, I'm like, yes, I believe COVID was real. I believe the vaccines do help. I do believe, like, yada, yada, yada. I'm very much like, I don't want to take creatine. I don't want to take I don't want to do anything because that's not what my body was made to have, Mm-hmm. My body was given what it was given, and it's supposed to come strictly from the earth. And people will tell me, well, this is from the earth. And I'm like, so is kratom or what? Like,
so is heroin.
Yeah, right.
Cocaine.
So.
Not the kind you get in Valley Park, but.
God, yeah, Zoo Street.
Dude, thank you for cutting me off. I can't believe I did it again. 2 for 2.
It's all good.
I'm going to start taking notes about what I say and don't say. But no, yeah, you know what my recent thing that I don't want to say I'm getting duped, but like what my algorithm's feeding me? The carnivore diet.
Really?
Yeah. Feed me a lot.
I can get down with that.
I sat there watching reels of this dude just like eating steak, eggs, and slices of butter for dinner, and I was like, talking about the benefits of it and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I like a popsicle.
Well, there's the benefits of it, but you want to know all these videos that we see of people that, like, because here's my argument to all of it. Because my argument a lot of times uses logic. Mm-hmm. So it's like, yeah, I pretty much know that, like, outside of feeding your kid straight sugar, you can pretty much feed them anything.
Yeah.
Okay. You see these people that are like, oh, I'm a paleo diet. Da, da, da. I'm like, right, yeah, this is what we ate 100,000 years ago. Absolutely. And we live to the ripe age of 40.
Right.
I need to see you at 70 eating like this. Mm-hmm. No, you're not the juice man. That guy who, like, the guy who did nothing.
King?
No, the juice man. He's like 80 years old and he whatever.
Yeah.
Well, like, look, modern medicine, people live a lot longer now because of special diets.
Modern medicine. Yeah, I don't even know anymore. No, we went. I mean, and still, we're pretty conscious of what we feed Julia for the most part. I mean, we're not. Can I say Nazis? We're not Nazis about it. I can say whatever I want. I just told the same story twice, so eat my shorts. But we're not Nazis about it. She'll get all hopped up on whatever, but like. Jamie did a lot of reading into and researching on the dyes and the red dyes and all the other kind of stuff. And, we've tried to, I mean, I don't know enough, but it can't be good for you long term, I don't think. I think it's probably a little bit better to eat more like natural or organic or whatever kind of stuff. That's one of those other rabbit holes. But, yeah, I don't know, man. That's funny. What other stories have I told that I can tell again before we finish? Is it time to be done?
Somewhere.
Are they feeling better, at least, for the most part?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
He said this is like the shark story. Funny. Man. Dude, we've got 2 months. Is it 2 months and 29 days? Until we'll be a family of 4. 2 months and 27 days. October 8th. Yep. It's going so fast. It's crazy. Jamie's big old pregnant now.
I feel for her. I mean, this time of the year, man.
It's rough.
Courtney was very fortunate. Second trimester.
Yeah.
Really was she was rounding out the second trimester in like September. So like,
Yeah.
you know, she really didn't have to put it on too hard
Yeah. It's
in the summer.
She's a trooper. She's making it through. She's feeling good, which is good for the most part. He's been doing a whole lot of moving around in there recently, which is cool for Julia to get to, feel her belly.
He's discovering everything.
Yeah.
What's these?
Right. Yeah, she gets the I don't know what the app is, but she gets like the weekly updates of like, your baby's as big as a spaghetti squash,
Yep.
or as big as a college ruled sheet of loose leaf paper.
At this point,
He's opening his
developing eyelids.
If you shine the one last night was if you shine a flashlight on your belly, he may punch you back and say, "Hey, what's all that light?" So stupid. I wish I could create apps like that and just get paid for it. Just come up with dumb stuff. I do it here for free,
Well, why not?
But anyway.
And we'll close it out with this. All this talk, everything. You do realize that it's a video diary. I mean, no matter what happens in the end, like, make money, no money, whatever. Like, we're chopping it up, but like, this is something like our kids, our grandkids, our great grandkids who maybe we'll never meet, whatever.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. I'm not going to tell the story again because it would make it the second time that I'd tell the story. But I've talked about the journal to Brady before. Like that's what we're already doing it.
Yeah,
it's
man.
already in the works. Pretty cool.
And that's why I don't ever want to hold back.
Yeah.
Because I want you to see all my imperfections, all my little peccadillos.
You're gonna tell me what is a peccadillo?
Like your little thing, your little quirks.
Peccadillos, you little. How are you?
I don't know. I don't want to I want to make sure I'm defining it correctly now.
We have a guest next week, huh?
We sure do. We have the president.
Which one? Because this whole time Trump's still been the president behind the scenes. So you're talking about him?
I'm done with this podcast ever. I'm so done. Peccadillo, a small, relatively unimportant offense or sin.
All your peccadillos.
Yeah,
Learn
man.
something new every day. Sounds like some kind of a small rodent.
Oh, we're gonna have Flynn on, man.
Shout out to Flynn.
Yeah, it'll be really cool. I'm excited. He's got a really pretty interesting, rad familial story, like him and his dad and all that.
I'm excited. It'll be fun. I'm hoping to maybe I get to see him tomorrow at that thing we do. But
that's what's up.
Anyway, shout out to
Build-A-Bear.
Shout out to Build-A-Bear and all of you do for the advancement of our society. And
that's what I'm saying.
Providing Charlie the Chameleon to my young unborn boy.
There you go.
Anyway, have a great week. Feel better, Courtney and Ben, and my kid too, Julia, and Chandler, and all the other sick, suffering children out there.
Official Doodads podcast.
Incurable diseases.
YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all those things. Audi 5 stacks.
Love you, bro.
Love you, brother.
Love you.